Judges 9. And Abimelech, the son of Yerubbaal, went to Shechem, to his mother's brothers, and spoke with them, and with all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying, Speak, I pray you, in the ears of all the men of Shechem, whether is better for you that all the sons of Yerubbaal, who are 70 persons, rule over you, or that one rule over you? Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. And his mother's brothers spoke of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words, and their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, He is our brother. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal-berith, wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light fellows who followed him. And he went to his father's house at Ophrah, and slew his brothers, the sons of Yerubbaal, being 70 persons, upon one stone. But Jotham, the youngest son of Yerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself. And all the men of Shechem assembled themselves together, and all the house of Millo, and went and made Abimelech king by the oak of the pillar that was in Shechem. And when they told it to Jotham, he went and stood on the top of Mount Gerizim, and lifted up his voice, and cried, and said to them, Hearken to me, ye men of Shechem, that God may hearken to you. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them, and they said to the olive tree, Reign thou over us. But the olive tree said to them, Should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honour God and man, and go to wave to and fro over the trees? And the trees said to the fig tree, Come thou, and reign over us. But the fig tree said to them, Should I leave my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to wave to and fro over the trees? And the trees said to the vine, Come thou, and reign over us. And the vine said to them, Should I leave my new wine, which cheereth God and man, and go to wave to and fro over the trees? Then said all the trees to the bramble, Come thou, and reign over us. And the bramble said to the trees, If in truth ye anoint me king over you, then come and take refuge in my shade. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble, and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now therefore, if ye have dealt truly and uprightly, in that ye have made Abimelech king, and if ye have dealt well with Yerubbaal and his house, and have done to him according to the deserving of his hands, for my father fought for you, and cast his soul in front, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian, and ye are risen up against my father's house this day, and have slain his sons, 70 persons, upon one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his maidservant, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. If ye then have dealt truly and uprightly with Yerubbaal and with his house this day, then rejoice ye in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech, and devour the men of Shechem, and the house of Millo, and let fire come out from the men of Shechem, and from the house of Millo, and devour Abimelech. And Jotham ran away and fled, and went to Beer, and dwelt there for fear of Abimelech his brother. And Abimelech was prince over Israel 3 years. And God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. And the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, that the violence done to the 70 sons of Yerubbaal might come, and that their blood might be laid upon Abimelech their brother, who slew them, and upon the men of Shechem, who strengthened his hands to slay his brothers. And the men of Shechem set liers in wait for him along the top of the mountains, and they robbed all that came along that way by them. And it was told Abimelech. And Gaal the son of Ebed came with his brothers, and went over to Shechem. And the men of Shechem put their trust in him. And they went out into the field, and gathered their vineyards, and trod the grapes, and held festival, and went into the house of their God, and did eat and drink, and cursed Abimelech. And Gaal the son of Ebed said, Who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is not he the son of Jerubbaal, and Zebul his officer? Serve ye the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem. But why should we serve him? And would that this people were under my hand, then would I remove Abimelech. And he said to Abimelech, Increase thy army, and come out. And when Zebul, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaal, the son of Ebed, his anger was kindled. And he sent messengers to Abimelech craftily, saying, Behold, Gaal, the son of Ebed, and his brothers are come to Shechem. And behold, they constrain the city to take part against thee. Now therefore, up by night, thou and the people that are with thee, and lie in wait in the field. And it shall be, that in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, thou shalt rise early, and rush upon the city. And behold, when he and the people that are with him come out against thee, then mayest thou do to them as thy hand shall find. And Abimelech rose up, and all the people that were with him by night, and they laid wait against Shechem in 4 companies. And Gaal the son of Ebed went out, and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city. And Abimelech rose up, and the people that were with him, from the ambushment. And when Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, Behold, there come people down from the tops of the mountains. And Zebul said to him, Thou seest the shadow of the mountains, as if it were men. And Gaal spoke again, and said, See, there come people down by the middle of the land, and one company cometh by the way of the oak of Maonanim. Then said Zebul to him, Where is now thy mouth, that thou saidst, Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him? Is not this the people that thou hast despised? Go out now, I pray, and fight with them. And Gaal went out before the men of Shechem, and fought with Abimelech. And Abimelech chased him, and fled before him. And there fell many wounded, even to the entrance of the gate. And Abimelech dwelt at Rumah, and Zebul drove out Gaal and his brothers, that they should not dwell in Shechem. And it was on the morrow that the people went out into the field, and they told Abimelech. And he took the people, and divided them into 3 companies, and laid wait in the field. And he looked, and behold, the people came forth out of the city, and he rose up against them, and smote them. And Abimelech and the companies that were with him rushed forward, and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city. And the 2 companies rushed upon all that were in the field, and smote them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day, and he took the city, and slew the people that were therein. And he beat down the city, and sowed it with salt. And when all the men of the tower of Shechem heard thereof, they entered into the stronghold of the house of El Berith. And it was told Abimelech that all the men of the tower of Shechem were gathered together, and Abimelech got him up to Mount Thalmon, he and all the people that were with him. And Abimelech took an axe in his hand, and cut down a bough from the trees, and took it up, and laid it on his shoulder. And he said to the people that were with him, What ye have seen me do, make haste, and do as I have done. And all the people likewise cut down every man his bough, and followed Abimelech, and put them to the stronghold, and set the stronghold on fire upon them, so that all the men of the tower of Shechem died also, about 1,000 men and women. Then went Abimelech to Tebeth, and encamped against Tebeth, and took it. But there was a strong tower within the city, and thither fled all the men and women, and all they of the city, and shut themselves in, and got them up to the roof of the tower. And Abimelech came to the tower, and fought against it, and drew near to the door of the tower to burn it with fire. And a certain woman cast an upper millstone upon Abimelech's head, and broke his skull. Then he called hastily to the young man his armor-bearer, and said to him, Draw thy sword and kill me, that men say not of me, A woman slew him. And his young man thrust him through, and he died. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed every man to his place. Thus God requited the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did to his father, in slaying his 70 brothers, and all the wickedness of the men of Shechem did God requite upon their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal.